Hey friends, I had a fuel pipe issue with my 2CV kit car, so let's get fixing it. My name's Esther and I'm an engineering racing driver. I like keeping my classic cars on the road and being part of a racing team. If that's your kind of thing, let's roll up those sleeves and get on to fixing this fuel pipe issue. I noticed the back part of the fuel pipe that's the issue because I fixed the front part twice. And the lesson that I learned was to buy top quality fuel pipe. This is the least accessible part and I've been putting it off for ages. I identified that it was a fuel issue because I was feeling a fuel surge when I was driving it. It's more of an interruption of the fuel supply, with often moments of spluttering until the engine kicks back into life. This was sort of happening a little bit and then it just sort of cruised to a halt. They have multiple causes in any part of the fuel system. I hope that it was going to be a bit more accessible, like somewhere like in the carb or the fuel pump or the fuel filter, or if there was an obvious kink or damage to the fuel pipe somewhere that was easy to find. However, that was not the case. We replaced all of the other parts that were easy and it still didn't fix the problem. As the fuel was trying to get into the system, but as the pipe had corroded, it wasn't getting a full stream of fuel, which meant I had to drop the fuel tank and replace the back fuel pipe. So first, I grabbed a cup of tea and read the Haynes manual. Step 5, remove the back seat. Hard to do on my car as it's the 2CV kit car and there is no back seat. As I had no idea what I was doing at the beginning, there was a lot of standing around, researching the internet, looking, prodding and frantically phone calling people to get tips. The main advice I got was be careful and don't let the fuel tank hit you in the face. It can be very full and heavy, so I had to watch out for that. I had the bright idea of trying to drain the fuel in the tank by taking the front pipe which connects to the fuel filter off, jacking the car up really high. It turns out that on a 2CV fuel tank, the pipe is on the top. I'd have had to jack that car up to 90 degrees to get any fuel out. So that was not clever. So you unconnect the fuel tank from the fuel filter and undo the main bolts holding it up. Mine have special washers on them. I don't know if that's for everyone. I've stacked up a load of bricks underneath in order to save my face, and this meant that I could remove them brick by brick to lower the tank gently down. I then undid the fuel pipe that connected to the metal pipe that ran along the chassis. This is very much specific to Bertie and not normal on all 2CVs. I really tried to get this little piece of rubber off that pipe. I pulled it, I attacked it with a knife, I did everything, couldn't figure out how to get it off. So the next day, my boyfriend came along and pulled it off ridiculously easily, but I'm sure I loosened it. You can see the corrosion and the little cracks in the pipe compared to the new one. We tried to fit this pipe that we found in the back of the Burton, but only after about 10 minutes did we realise the diameter was too big. So all we could do on day 2 was unhook the battery to charge that up to make us feel like we'd done something, and go inside and order shiny new parts. So then day 3, which was actually 1 week later, the new pipe arrived and I fitted it to the top of the fuel tank. There is one fuel pipe and there's one connector for the fuel gauge sensor which attaches to the tank. It has slots and holes on the side, and I feel like this is for easy install, but it was not easy to get back up and it was definitely a 2-person job. With a lot of struggling, we got the pipes all connected back up, and before we put the fuel tank back up into place, we put the battery back in to check that the fuel gauge was back and working fine. This was a good tip my uncle said not to forget to do. We returned to the back and with a team effort, we got the tank bolted back on, connected back the filler cap and the pipe along the chassis. Because this was a new pipe, the airlock needed to be removed. I don't have any fancy tool to do this, so I did it the old school way. Never ever try this at home. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. Excited to start him up, I jumped in, started it up, worked perfectly, and then my boyfriend pointed out that the fuel gauge was not working. So we had to jack up the car again, take the tank off, and this time, once the wire was connected, we added the cable tie that was on originally to make sure that it was all secure for when we wrestled that tank back up again. I'd like to say it was easier the second time, but it was still a struggle. Then it was all fixed and there's one last thing to do, subscribe. No, I mean test drive. So I set off up the road. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the video and want to see more of this kind of stuff.